Hey guys, another phenomenal week of trading, which has just been covered in this video. Again, lots of nuggets of information in here, which is going to be really good for you. But something which is really frustrating is that I actually had a really bad week of trading due to a lot of stuff, a lot of pressure off of the charts. That is reflected in my mood in here. So it'd be quite interesting to watch. Hopefully you got a better result than me. Enjoy the video. If you like it and you want to trade like me, join me at FTR, link below. Cheers. Right guys, how's it going? So today we're going to go through the previous week, which has just been the back testing for that, okay? So I know that I've just traded this and, it's fairly fresh in my mind. I remember roughly where the turns were, but we're going to go through based on what the strategy gives us, not necessarily what I took. Even though I can call out the trades that I took, and I will show you, because I took a couple of losses where I shouldn't have done. We're going to go through as unbiased as possible. So, literally just following the plan. Now, if you're new to the channel, first of all, let me just squish up the charts so we don't reveal everything. And we're just going to go back to where the week began, which was here, where the last week closed, okay? So we've got this on the chart at the moment. I'm just going to show you the rules, all right? So the way which we trade is really, really simple, okay? There's only really two entries that we do. Just imagine that these boxes are H4 zones, okay? We just trade zone to zone, all right? It's literally as simple as that. We trade zone to zone, and all what that means is a higher time frame area to a higher time frame area. The higher time frames respect the higher time frames. They don't respect the lower time frames. But the lower time frames do respect the higher time frames. So let's just use a trade example here, okay? We're looking to go long in this position. If you're using a higher time frame to try to reach the next time frame, you're going to get a mediocre risk reward ratio, in this example 2.3. Now, if you can get an entry based off a smaller time frame, which fits really well within the higher time frame, but you're still targeting the same place because that's where price is going to go next, you increase your risk reward ratio, you see? So that's where the strategy has come from, because we decided that we're gonna try to just target higher time frames. Now, there's only two types of entry set up, and there's a continuation and a reversal. So let's pretend that price is coming down into this area and we start getting a little bit of motion, a little bit of movement. What we're looking for ideally is a breakout of this zone on the higher time frame. So we want to try and get a body break on a higher time frame. Sometimes we don't get it, we'll just get it on the lower time frame, and that's okay. But quite often what will happen after you get a breakout of one of these areas, instead of just shooting straight down to the next one, what it does is it pulls back and reacts to what is known as an order block, usually just a little kink in the market. It will come back to this furthest point, so on this most recent little leg down, and then it will start making its way on its journey down to the next order block, or to the next zone, let's say. So in here, what we can do in this instance is we can look for one of two things. We can look for the same price action as this, so a breakthrough, and that's going to happen about 2/3 of the time, okay? Or what we could get is a little pullback in the area, another press down, and then a pullback where we get what's known as chock. So it's a change of character, a change of direction. Basically, we break the most recent, in this case, high. Okay, so we break the most recent high, try to get involved on this leg down and this leg down to a deep order block. So we try and get a really precise entry. And then we know that this target, if we want to try to go upwards and go bullish, our target is essentially going to be there. Now, there's going to be multiple opportunities on the way up a lot of the time where we can try to target order blocks on the way up, but we only want to be targeting the base of this supply or demand zone. So you'll hear me use certain terminology: supply and demand, order blocks, support and resistance. It's just kind of an amalgamation of everything really, but to make it really, really simple, and just to summarize it in a couple of words, zone to zone. That's it. Right, so what we need to do, first of all, is, as always, we need to look at a top-down analysis, okay? So we use the 15 minutes, the 4 hours, and the daily. We'll look at the weekly as well, just because it's, start of the week. But that's the only time where I'll really check the week. So we'll look at the weekly. It won't reveal this week because, we're on bar replay mode. But I will clear up the charts a little bit just to make sure that we've got anything on there. So the most recent demand area, it's not particularly strong, but it's this. So if price was to drop, we would look to essentially close out the week probably around about this area. Or alternatively, if the market goes up, we're probably looking up here. So you might not be able to see through all my workings out. I don't really have any weeklies drawn on, so don't worry about that. Let's drop down to the daily anyway and see what there is. This cluster is quite annoying, but looking at the daily, we have this order block up here. We have this sort of section down here. The rebalance is probably going to be from this downward candle. So we've got all of this space here for price to basically just crash down through. There's such a lack of orders, generally speaking, on a daily time frame. You know, by the way, on smaller time frames, there'll be, you know, millions of orders, but in reality, from a daily perspective, it should just crash straight through here, probably same day. Okay, so another big drop candle. But we're just looking for areas where we think that price might reverse from, but we're looking for essentially magnets for price to go to, because price is attracted to supply and demand. It's attracted to the bulk of the orders, especially if it is banks and institutions and stuff like that taking the trades, which move the markets. That's what they need to try and find to move the market, right? So, well, that's the theory behind it. So we've already got this daily marked up, and we also have another daily marked up down here. So I'm just going to, I know the chart's a bit clustered, so I've just marked the last candle, but I'm going to mark a daily rebalance right here as well. So daily rebalance. All right, so quite often, even if it's just short term, you may well get a bounce off of that daily rebalance. And the rebalance is usually from the last opposite candle, all right? So it's most likely going to be from the tip of that. Don't know why I didn't mark it out last week. Maybe it wasn't there. Yeah, don't think it was. Anyway, so, oh, it definitely was, just missed it. So now we're going to drop down to the H4. Hopefully, oh, I'm going to have to tidy this up. But H4, we've got no clear order blocks down here. Yes, we have a little bit of a demand zone, but it's being rebalanced. We have an order block up here, so I will, oh, I've already got marks on, which is cool, so we've got that. I'm gonna cover that high. Don't know why I had it on, oh, I may have had it in the right place. But anyway, cover the high of the opposite candle wick. We just want to try to identify essentially what direction we're going in. So the daily was definitely working its way up. So let me just show you, we're going up, press down. So we're in a pullback phase. Until we break the high of this, we're in a pullback phase, okay? So pullback, we're going pro trend again. That's cool, so daily is going up. I tend to keep this type of thing on my monitor. Why is that showing down? So we're looking at up. And then we've got the H4, which is currently, there's the H4 high, there's the H4 low. That was the previous break over there, so H4 is up. And weekly is up. Why did I say that the weekly was looking short? How random. That must, old backtesting video from over here. So yeah, all right, fine, got it. So looking at a completely different time of the year. All right, so next video, by the way, is going to be from back in, I think it's February, you know, so I'm going to try to work my way through the whole year for you guys for a little binge-worthy content. But yeah, okay, so we are working our way down from this H4 now anyway. And the next target from the H4 is probably going to be this H4. It will at least be the daily, and at the very least, really, it's just going to be this broker structure. All right, so after we've done all that, we've got all of our zones marked out. There's nothing else really that I can see, even on the H4. Let's just get stuck into the back testing. All right, so marking out your zones is really quite important. You have to do it daily, at the very least. Preferably, you want to do it every 4 hours. Just basically update it. You know, you don't have to do it again and again. Just update it. If anything's changed, just update it. If there's a new H4 appeared, update it. If your boss and chalk have moved, update it. You know, it just keeps you relevant in the market. All right, let's move that out of the way. Okay, let's go. So weekend gap, don't try and trade it because your spreads are going to be mad for the first hour, and you know there's hardly any liquidity in it. So all what I'm looking for is order blocks, essentially. So a little bit like this, we could have done with a break there, which we haven't got just yet, but, well, we've got it, but it's only with a wick. But there's imbalance here, there's a clear move down. So for me, this is looking like a decent trade. Let me just use the GAN box. And we will mark this up. Don't need that to go so fast, surely. And preferably, we want to be taking longs if we can, unless we get a signal where we can start to go short, which is absolutely fine. And I add 0.5 to every position just to cover for spreads. First target is just going to be a break of the same time frame, all right? Next target would be there, next target would be there, which is, you know, what, like a pip. And then the H4, which is all the way up there. All right, so let's click through, okay. Now, this is one of those ones which I remember, and I remember it very, very clearly. So for transparency for you, my 15s, so I quite often put a 15 on there and a 15 down here, so for boss and chock, when I'm looking for an entry setup, okay? We're in the H4 zone, and I don't know why, but I had my 15 down here, and I was just so set on getting into this trade that I did not notice that we had actually moved our 15 chock there, all right? I think it was this bit anyway. Yeah, so I hadn't moved this. Now, what we'd been left with was an order block. And, you know, even though it was called out in FTR in the group, I wasn't paying attention and just left it, okay? So there's a trade here. I did get in, but I got in late, and I'll show you roughly where I got in. I can't remember exactly where I did, but I did. So there's our chock sign. We're in a H4 zone. We've got chock. That's our reversal signal that we're possibly going to reverse the market. And if we were to reverse properly, our target, all right, I'm on 9:45, so I can jump to the 4 hour. Our target would essentially be either a swing on the same time frame, or it's going to be an area of demand of the same time frame, which would be right here, okay? So around about 9206. So 9206 was, that doesn't look right. Oh, it does, yeah. Okay, so about here, right there. I think it was right on that line. So that would pretty much be your target if you were to take anything. Or because we've got here a very obvious area of demand, which needs to be broken, which is going to be a bit of a tricky area, you would take your profit right at the top of it or at the entry point. So essentially you don't exit the market, you would get into a short here, get involved in a trade here. So, you know, work your way down, take your profit and enter into another trade automatically in the other direction. And I try to do that every now and then, which is cool, but you know, our entry is gonna look like this. I'm still kicking myself with this because it set me off psychologically in a bad state for the week. All right, so just pure transparency, and I will show you where I got involved, and it was so frustrating. All right, literally so frustrating. I think it was just after this. So was it that candle? I think I went to re-enter right here, okay? So there are a few guys involved in a trade at the moment. So I look in the group in FTR, there's a few guys involved. You know, first target would be obviously just a break of that swing, which would be, you know, 4.84. But I know that was 7.77 for me. So yeah, there we go. So that was what my target was initially. But for some reason, and this was ego, like I hate to say this was ego, I set another order to go on, okay? So I missed that first one. It got called out in the group. So what did I do? I went for a super aggressive entry. I set my stop loss right there, okay? And I didn't even put in the 0.5. So, you know, 1.5, why? Because I wanted to get a monster trade of about 16 to 1, or 1 to 16, whichever way around it is. Okay, so I took this, the guys took this. Look at that. Now, somehow, somewhere, I got stopped out. So what did I do? I did the thing which I tell everybody not to do, and this is why, all right? I tell you, never move your stop loss, okay? Never move your stop loss, because you get this happen. All right, so just pulling back on that, got involved in a trade, it went in my favor, I was up like 3R or 4R or something like that. Then I moved it to break even. So pretty much next candle comes back, takes me out. And I was just sat there thinking, what am I doing? Like, I'm already, you know, first trade of the week, I'm breaking my own rules, and it's through stupidity, it's ego, it was FOMO, it was feeling, basically feeling like I'd missed out. It was impulse. You can probably hear it in my voice, I did some heavy journaling this week, really heavy journaling this week, and I've spotted quite a few flaws in my own, not necessarily personality, but with a lot of the pressures which I've got going on outside of trading, it is affecting my actual trading, and a lot of it comes down to ego and FOMO. So, and stuff around that, it's so frustrating. So essentially, this is what happened. I'll take that off now because I don't want to confuse people. But this is what happened. You know, there's probably going to be another entry available around here. No, there wasn't. So anyway, I got tagged into this trade. So this one was going. And, you know, the aggression coming down, I thought, oh, have I made a mistake here? Maybe, like, you know, there's potential for me to have made a mistake. But nonetheless, it was the strategy. I was expecting it to go up, but I had forgotten about this. Okay, so I'd already seen that we chopped. We've got the aggression coming down. It's a little bit of common sense to be played at this point, and I just seem to have lost mine. Okay, I just seem to have lost my common sense at this point. What happens? The market looks as though it's starting to reverse. It's definitely showing the signs of reversal. The wicks are on the bottom. I've already been stopped out at this point. I should be up, you know, 7.77, and I was down 1, 2. Okay, so I was down 2 at this stage. It was ridiculous. So I should be up, you know, 6.77 or 6.6-ish, you know, take off your spreads and fees and whatnot. So price starts moving up. Not much to do at this moment in time. We are still looking to go long preferably, or short. Now, I remember getting a little bit confused this week because my H4, I wasn't sure whether or not it was in the correct place. There was quite a bit of debate in my group about where the H4 was meant to be. And I wasn't sure whether or not we chocked or if I was looking at the wrong place on the chart. So it's possible even for me to get confused, but I just couldn't get into the swing of things this week. So we've got an internal chock right here, and we've got essentially the very last kind of pullback before the break of, before the chop. So it's only internal at this point, but we've got that as potential. Price came in, didn't tag me in, got a little bit frustrated, but you know, that's that. Takes off without me, you know, fairly standard in trading. Let me clear these off because it's going to confuse us in a minute, and I'll check the H4 as well because I can't remember all of it, but you know, we're just going with what the strategy gives us, so I want to follow that religiously. There's a H4 left behind here, which looks decent. So there's an H4, I'm not even sure if it comes into play, but H4 POI, nearly jumped. God, right, 15 minute. And let's keep going again. So we had that. Well, I can hear something moving around and it's not in the house. That's freaking me out. Right, anyway. So price has broken its way up. We've now, I think, broken that previous, oh no, we haven't broken the previous area because we're looking at that. Let's keep going. Price is doing its thing for a little while. Left behind a potential move here, but you know, given that there's no aggression coming out of it, it's not fantastic, and it's kind of rebalanced itself anyway, so. we'd have chock down here if we get a pullback now, which we do. So there's potential, it's kind of like a pullback into this area, but you could say just from the wick, because the rest of it's been mitigated already. I'll just mark them on the charts if we get, you know, entries through these areas and it gets fairly obvious. Break of that little mini structure. We're working our way up again. Oh, there we go. Right, okay, maybe I should mark them up in advance. So we've got a long to go from here. First target is going to be that. Then your next height is going to be this. Then your next height is going to be the much higher time frame, which is the 1 day. And then you've got the H4, which is all the way up there. So, you know, to be safe, considering, oh no, we didn't chop down. Okay, I thought that we chopped down sort of minorly, but looking at actual structure, we didn't break it with a body, so we're still working our way up. But yeah, essentially you can target the next zone. I think that's what I was screaming at, not screaming at people, but telling people, target the next zone, target the next zone. So let's keep going. Oh, there was another one right there, missed it. Sorry, we're gonna have to go back and mark that up potentially. What time is it? 10:45, yeah. So there's one right there. Don't worry about me doing it on hindsight, by the way, because I'm just showing you what the strategy is capable of. It's not a case of me trying to backtest the market with my own knowledge. It's just literally, what does the strategy do? So we want a 1 to 4 bare minimum really, because my win rate, well, the strategy win rate is about 25%, but my personal is a little bit higher. But you want to make sure that you're at the very least breaking even. Okay, so you got this. But you're going to have to be realistic with, are you going to enter off the 0.5 if it doesn't work? So if you do that, yes, if we're just targeting there, or even if we just target there. But essentially just screaming at people to go and literally just break the next high. So that would be your entry after you get more of a convincing break. So, nothing just yet, really. We hadn't chalked up or anything, so we would want a break of this high before we could enter into this trade, and we want to get short. Oh, sorry, there's another one which we've just kind of missed. We want to get short from this one, potentially just the next area of supply now. Demand coming back in the other way. Okay, so here it's been badly rebalanced as well. So a bit of a decision to make. Do we even take that short? There's nothing really there. Price has broken up out of this H4, only with a wick though. So we could target lower. We could target all the way down here. So that might make a bit of sense. Oh no, there was that H4. Okay, we came down, mitigated that H4. We're gonna move down to the next area of demand coming into the market. So that would be your trade 1 to 18, which looks pretty damn good. Doesn't happen. Right, so minus 1 there. Let's tell you what, I haven't even been marking these on. So -1 there. Oh, we got profit on that one, so we'll just put a little tick on that. We got a profit on that one, even though I got a loss, which is just ridiculous. I was livid. I was absolutely fuming at my trading this week. It was not my best performance by far. I called them out, called out the winners, called out the losers. I called them all out. I performed badly. Not the strategy, just me. And that one, which we wouldn't have got our entry on anyway, so we take it off. And then we've got a nice little order block down here actually, which has formed. So we can mark this one. Why? Because we've got a break of structure. Also a break of, we've got a break of structure on the higher time frames too, but this is only a 15-minute candle. Ideally, after 2 o'clock, like see the time down here, after 2 o'clock, if we're still broken out of this zone, that is a clear H4 break, which is cool, which is what we want. And we got kind of, even though it was a kind of a pullback. So happy to do that. I'm going to go back one just so we can quickly assess what the H4 shows us. So the chart's looking a little bit messy. I will tidy these up next time, so I do apologise, it's looking a little bit messy and hard to follow. But there is an H4 forming here now as well. So as you can see, it's a little bit of just a pullback essentially in the market. It's the same colour, like don't be confused by the colours as well. The colours kind of help us a little bit, but the colour doesn't tell you the story of what's going on, but it can assist you with certain things. For example, the rebalance would probably be off of this rather than just off of this, but other than that, it's actually the flow of the market that we're monitoring a little bit more. And then, yeah, target H4 is going to be, well, all the way up here. So looks like a bit of a distance to go. It could be another day or so. Yeah. And 15, can we get a tag into this on our journey up? And if we do, we're going to target the next H4 because we've already got into the daily now. And I'll set with an extra 0.5. Target all the way up there, which just looks absolutely crazy. Well, until you get that kind of stuff happening. So, you know, you got that. We do have a break right there, therefore we've got a bit of a tricky order block. I think somebody asked me whether or not I was interested in that one, and I said no, but generally speaking it is valid. We are in a higher time frame, so we're within the daily, we're working our way up to the H4, that's fairly obvious, but it is valid. You know, it's a pullback, it's a order block. But what I didn't like about it was this wick. All right, so we got a good body on it, a good body candle. Let me mark on here. Do we have? Why is that always sort of auto tick itself? All right, it's not a news candle. Okay, I thought it was. I thought that would have been a news candle, but it wasn't. Well, maybe it was, don't know. But it's not showing on TradingView. Nonetheless, that wick followed by this candle. Just combine those two. It's basically just a straight drop, which equated to 22 pips. So on EU, that's quite significant. Therefore, live watching it, you wouldn't want to take this trade because it would just be, you know, kind of, it would feel kind of stupid. But you can do, if it pulls back a little bit and then comes down again, take the trade. Because again, your target is only going to be up to the next time frame. All right, so there to here. 5.22, that's perfectly fine. I thought we were possibly going to have to drop it down to the 0.5 to make it work for us, but it looks absolutely fine. But at this moment in time, it looks a bit risky. If you just looked at it, you'd think, maybe not. So anyway, let's go. All right, didn't get it anyway. Price has worked its way up. It's still working its way up. Got a breaker structure right here. Technically, a minor swing, but it's very, very weak because of this wick. You couldn't class a rebalance off of this candle. It would be a rebalance right here, which isn't good enough anyway. So let's go. Oh, price has come down and tapped us in. Okay, cool. So we haven't reached our target. Well, that would hurt. We're not even in that trade anyway. So let's move that out of the way because that's just a bit confusing. I thought we were in a trade. Guess we're not. So yeah, we're not in that trade, but our target is up there. So saw this, started panicking a bit. Thought, is this chalk? Technically it is. This is only a wick though. So we do have an order block right near, so literally right near up here. And it's a bit tricky because you would want to expect us to break into the next zone. So I got very thrown here. I wasn't sure what to do, but your target would just be the next H4. All right, so H4 demand. I was going to say I'm going to double check this, but no, that is correct. We can see it from the setup. So an 11-hour trade there to go short from, but the market is still trending up. On the H4, we're still trending up. Daily, we're definitely trending up now. But this, if this is the turnaround, this is probably going to be the turnaround until we get into, you know, down here, which, by the way, I'll drag these over now because I forgot in the live market. A bit of a hint for you as to what's to come. So I'm going to slide that as far as I can. So I feel like a bit of an idiot. And then we've also got I don't know. Right, anyway, so we're in nervous time, but it's around about the right time in the evening. I was just going to say, don't move your stop loss. Now, you could say as well, because we chopped down and we chopped with a body, even though we're pulling back, this has left behind an order block right there, but we didn't get a continued break of this kind of structure here. So you can't take a short from this, because that would just be going counter trend to the, well, to all the directions actually. It's just a short term. I was going to say it's a short term reaction. We saw that candle press down a bit and then this press up. So not valid, even though it's a nice looking order block, not valid. Now we're in this trade. So this one started. Move that to the correct place. And what time is it? What time did it reach? Yeah, okay, so it would have been fine. And out. Okay, so that was called out in the group. I talked somebody out of taking it and said, no, don't take it. It's not right. It's not in the right place. We need to aim for up here. We shouldn't be shorting. They said, no, I don't want to get in. Okay, thanks, Paul. So I then saw this black candle form. So I'm just going to go back a tiny bit. I then saw literally at this moment in time, possibly another, yeah, it was like a little press down. I saw something like that and I thought, oh, no way, like I'm gonna have to take this trade for him effectively, you know, out of honor to him. Guilty, you know, I felt so guilty. I was like, right, I'm gonna have to take this trade. So even though I said to him, don't take it, I saw this happen. I was like, oh my God, he'd be up like 2 hours within 15 minutes. So I think he'd gone off to sleep or gone off to work. I think he's in Canada, I'm in the UK. And I was like, I'm gonna have to stay awake and watch this. So yeah, price came back in, tagged me in. I thought, okay, cool. Oh God. So another -1, completely avoidable. You know, I guess it fit the strategy, but you know, it was a heck of a risk, you know, considering that we're meant to be targeting up here and this one takes profit. All right, so bittersweet win and a loss. Didn't need to take a loss, so you know, win of 5, loss of 1, just bleeding my edge away. You know, it's just ridiculous. This week, honestly, you know, that would hurt. So anyway, price starts coming down. Don't like this sort of price action. Looks like curve liquidity to me. Looks like it's just going to get smashed through. And the market doesn't really do what I thought it would do, but it does leave behind an order block, but not a fantastic one. There's no sweep on this. There is kind of like, it looked like a push up because the wick was higher on top, but it was a bearish candle anyway. But you know, it's not particularly great. However, I would still mark it up, and I have I had a pending order waiting for it. So a limit order, pending order, I'll say that they're the same thing to me. So that would be a trade, and you know, obviously target next stage 4, which is down here. Now I'm just realizing that I haven't moved my daily and H4 lines, so I'm going to do that now, just so everybody's kind of keeping track of what we're doing. So H4, blimey, sorry, they're miles away. Oh man, it's got the old lines on from the other week back testing. Anyway, daily has worked its way up to here. Okay, no doubt about that. H4 has also worked its way up to the same place. But I think this is where my confusion kicked in, all right? And a lot of you will resonate with this. The previous H4 was over here, okay? So H4 was over there and we got the broker structure, therefore chalk is down here. Now, problem is that if we look at our strategy properly, you know, I will trade inside bars and use them as internal chalk, okay? So technically we got chalk right here, and we also got, you know, at least a confirmation once we broke through there. But obviously it was a wick break followed by a very weak body break, but still a wick with it, and then price recoiled away from there. So I thought, is it possible that the H4 is actually all the way down here and we stick to the leg rather than, you know, using these sort of like, you know, minor breaks Because if that's the case, if the H4 was down here and the H4 was up there, when we get that break, we get this. But if we do count this as our actual chock, then essentially we get chock, then we get a breaker structure, press down, therefore our high is sort of work its way backwards. There we get boss, work our way up, we get boss, boss, therefore our H4 is going to be here. Now that makes a big difference, okay? It makes a big difference because we work our way up, we get a break with a wick, two signs that we're going to reverse here. Big wick there, wick here, inside bar within that wick means that our internal structure, our internal chock could be at the base of this internal inside bar, okay? So that's because I try to trade the turns extremely aggressively if I can, but I threw myself off for about 2 days. I wasn't sure if I had my H4 in the right place. And combination of pressures off the charts, I just couldn't concentrate in the slightest. And these are the sorts of things that you're going to have with your trading as well. You're going to have these issues because nobody's life is perfect, and mine is far from it. It's unreal. But I got stuck effectively. So I knew that I could be taking wins or losses in both directions, which is no problem because the strategy is profitable even if you are trading in the wrong direction half the time. But I don't like losing. You can probably tell from my videos by now, I don't like losing. I'm a natural competitor. I used to fight, not professionally, but in MMA, used to do fighting. Was phenomenal at football, brilliant at poker, excellent at cricket. I was a natural winner. I was very good academically, and I just hate losing. So having that as a trait is quite a disadvantage for a trader, effectively. If you don't mind losing, if your ego is okay, if your ego is in check, you're going to be all right. But I've got I don't mean it in like a cocky ego type manner, but I have an issue with my ego which I'm trying to fix. So looking at this, double inside bar, press down, get another inside bar up, and we get this breaker structure. So what we've done effectively is we've definitely chocked on the 15-minute. H4 is starting to work its way down. We're trying to work our way down to this H4 here, and effectively we are looking for shorts. Okay, so there's a short here available and there's two shorts. So 10 points to anyone who can remember what I said, what to do if you get two order blocks sat on top of each other. Okay, there's two there. Do I want to put 1% on here and 1% on there? No, you should combine the two, but if the risk reward ratio doesn't work out if you combine the two, which it certainly wouldn't in this case, you need to split your risk, okay? Put 0.5% on this one and 0.5% on that one. But what did I do? Didn't place that trade. Okay? Didn't place that trade. I wanted to place this one because I wanted to get, effectively, it was the EQ, all right? So it was the EQ of this leg. It's got the highest probability of playing out of all the order blocks. It's an inside bar. But what I did not realize at the time of seeing this, okay, is even though it's an inside bar, it was a bearish inside bar. It was not a bullish one, okay? And, let me just do this. It's bearish. Should have just done that, okay? Really frustrating. Misread it. Placed only that one, didn't place this one. They're both valid. They should both be placed, So trade on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then a trade on here. So I hope you don't mind me telling you where I've gone wrong this week. I've just had a very, very poor week compared to my usual standards. But I want you to know that, trading isn't all, rosy, because things can go drastically wrong. And stuff which is way out of your control, stuff which is nothing to do with trading, can really affect your trading performance. So imagine a sports athlete. I don't know, your wife's having a baby and you're on a football pitch. You want to be there watching the birth. Well, you probably get, compassionate leave for that. Not compassionate, family leave, but you would not be able to put in your top performance knowing that there's something else going on outside the charts that you should be attending or whatever. So anyway, I just had a lot of it this week and it just really affected me. So I was just livid half the week. Anyway, get tagged in, tagged out, bang, straight into this one. So this one's in, that one's out. And I was there sulking because I told everybody this is your order block and I went and placed this one. So everyone else gets the order block which works. Oh, and it leaves behind another one, but you don't get into it because of, there's no breaker structure. And if you're in it and price is doing all this with the wicks, you'd be panicking anyway. But that's fine because you're just meant to hold out your trade. Once you get into a position, that's it. You're in. Okay, you don't think about anything else. You're in. And you do not move your position to break even because now you'd be out. Yeah. So let's keep on going. I'm going to close these lines up because they're a little bit confusing. I'm thinking that there's trades that you can go into. I'm going to try and get like at least an internal chalk. No, chalk's going to be down here. So, but I want to try and get like an internal. There's a break. Let me check the low. So 723, 725, and then a couple of wicks. That's all right. There's another potential trade off of this, which I am pretty sure I had on my chart. And then, oh, sorry. We also have this inside bar pushing up, which is what had intrigued me, but also that downward candle. Got the inside bar. Target DH4. 345, 4.27, it's okay. Now, I'd be inclined to say that, what time is it? 12:45. 0.4 is why we put a 0.5 on there. So that may or may not hold. It depends what broker you're using. If it was an FTMO account, it might or it might not. It shows that it is at the moment. If you're using a personal broker, this will be in anyway, so keep that on. Still got the one above it as well if it passes through, or we're going to look like an idiot if it just breaks through both of them. I'm just going to say we got another one here. But we haven't got a break, so don't worry about it. Maybe we should have done. Nah, what am I talking about? This is me trying to compete with it. I shouldn't, it's just, I should be following the strategy exact. Are we in this? Oh, we're in the previous one. So maybe we should have done that one. Especially as we got that. Oh, we did get the break in the end. So, there's another trade off of this inside bar that we could do. Let me close out that previous one. So you could even go for that as a break. Oh, actually, yeah, you could even do that. But no, target is actually the H4 because that's where the H4 is headed. Okay, it's already cleared its previous zone of up here. It's going to be heading down to the next area where it can grab demand and then possibly pass up again or come down further. Okay, so it's really quite simple trading strategy. It's just all the other stuff which goes on in the middle. You're just trying to grab the order blocks. It's as simple as that. Okay, so when I drew this out before, okay, there's zone 1, there's zone 2. Price rarely ever just, breaks out of the area and then just goes straight down. It does a lot of stuff in the middle, and you can try to get involved with all of these order blocks on the way down. And when it chocks back up within a range, we've got a different, like a trading adaptation to be able to capitalize on these. and you can go counter trend as well, but that's really for the full-time traders and the guys who have been trading for a few years, so they can manage that amount of essentially rules to follow in a short space of time. Okay, so there's multiple ways to be able to trade the market, and we do it quite successfully in terms of the strategy. But me personally, lately, the last week and a half really, has been very, very difficult off the chart. So for me, I've struggled. Anyway, did we get? Yeah, we got a tag on that. Well, we got tagged. Oh, we got tagged over there, didn't we? So that was our tag. So we got a few wins here. You know what? I'm getting a bit annoyed doing this back test because there's more trades than what I even picked up on when I was trading the week. But next video is going to be going back to February. So, and we didn't get a tag on that. So we'll just get rid of that now. All right, so there's actually quite a few wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the losses, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. Wow, that makes me feel even worse about myself. Great. And we've also got, another, let's get rid of these Gann charts because they are really blocking up the chart for me. We've got another order block formed right here. Okay, so if price comes in, we'll tap into it. We've got the H4, but we've also got, let me just double check that we can do this. Let's click on through a little bit anyway. We can go 3 more candles left behind another order block, which is quite nice. So that'll be going short. I just want to try and see where our target is. 9, we could do 2 more. 9:30, 1 more. 9:45, okay, H4. We have an H4 down here. So I'll just move those across, M15 down there. And if you look at this structure, okay, what's happening is that there's nothing but liquidity, okay? There's nothing which is unmitigated. That's being rebalanced. So this is a demand zone, but it's being rebalanced, so it's not as strong. It's still, strongish, but there's no swing off the bottom of it. It's only wicks, and the wicks have mitigated everything. So really, we've just got down here to target. And that's about it. Nothing spectacular, but look at that sell-off. 4 hours, early in the morning, 50 pips. Quite impressive. All right, so back to the 15. I know that there's another order block over here, and I don't know where it was. It was that. Sorry, I was thinking it can't be off of that. Okay. Well, whatever. We got an H4 and we got a 15. So next H4 really is all the way down here. So we're expecting price to go a little bit further, a little bit more. All right. So all what we can do at the moment while price is trending down is try to get involved in these pullbacks. As soon as we get a break of structure, but it looks a little bit tricky. And there's a perfect rebalance there as well. But essentially there is a break of structure, but that's a wick. Did we bounce off of anything? Not really. Oh, hello. That might be the one that I was thinking of. All right, let me drag this across, take a little bit of time. I'll speed this up. Right, that took about 2 minutes in real time. So, yep, there we go, tagged in. Did I take this trade? I can't remember. I know it was marked up. But we also have this order block, a little bit tricky because it has been mitigated. But we have that as well. We have this one, we have that one. We're now tagged into this as well. Where can we take profit? That old H4 was sorted. We could either try to take profit at this M15, which is not going to be fantastic, 2.65, so we wouldn't take it, or we take profit there. Okay, so 5.75. So we can do that and set that as our take profit, because that is where the supply starts coming into the market effectively. Or we go for an H4, which, looking at the charts without even having to jump to the H4, is going to be either here or here. So it's a little bit further away anyway, but we're going counter trend. Be safe, use the same time frame that you're entering on. Just go for the obvious supply area in this case, because we're going back up. Or are we? So we get chalk right here. Okay, so we got a break of structure there with, sorry, yeah, we did. We got a break of structure with a wick, so just basically a minor sweep. We got chalk. So essentially, we also have, if we want to double up on this trade, which I wouldn't recommend doing because it's going counter trend, which means you're going to get slapped out the market way more than you're going to take profit. Why is this a different color from that one? But yeah, essentially that would be a target. It would still be valid, you know, maybe unless I do this. Yeah, 4.1, that's fine. So we can do that. Okay, so we nearly reach target, we don't get it. And we get tagged into this one as well, and tagged out. But then we're thinking, yeah, okay, second chance. So I'm just going to, this one's still in, that one's out. Let me just mark that up as a loss. And then we cry because we've just taken 2 losses in the same place. I didn't, but I did take that loss. I think, yeah, I did, yeah. So I took that one and was frustrated because I missed it by like half a pip. But hey, that's life and that's trading. And then what it's also done, let me just get rid of half of these, is it's left behind yet another order block right there. Quite a large one though. Where's our target though? Can we realistically reach that? Target there, yeah, that's absolutely fine. Huge stop loss compared to usual, at 5.2, 5.92 risk reward ratio. It's still fine. I was going to say that little candle there, don't worry about it. What time is it anyway? No. Now, there is another one here. Alright, so there's that. So we've got the press down, break of structure comes in with this candle. All of this is sort of, you know, liquidity. We do have this here, which is just a little bit weak because it wasn't an aggressive push up. But we do have that attempted push up. Yes, it's a bearish candle, but it is a bullish, you know, we've swept that inside bar next to it and we've mitigated this attempted push up. So this is where the supply is coming into the market, coupled with this candle, and then, you know, the break of this structure here. So we've got this to go short from as well. And our target is there. So we're tagged in, let's slide that across. Do you guys want a spoiler as to what happened? We got chalk here, which is cool. So we've got another push-up candle that you can get involved in. What time is this though? 3:45 in the morning. So it depends if you'd be awake or not. If you are American, you probably would be. If you're in the UK, you probably wouldn't be, but you, don't know, I'm always awake at 2:30 in the morning. Look at this. Oh my God. 3:15. This is due out in like 3 hours. So let's get my move on. So we're involved in that trade. Got another one here. Pretty certain at this stage that price is going to here, all right? I'm not gonna mark this one on because look at the size of it. It's a 3 pip candle and it's been, you know, sort of mitigated by this as well. But you could. Nope. Yeah, and maybe you should. I find a nice order block there anyway. So there's one with a little bit more conviction. Yeah, breaker structure is fairly obvious. That now looks very dangerous. So in real life scenarios, I wouldn't be comfortable taking this because of that wick. No. More wicks. Again, reversal signs. Do you really want to be risking yourself with this sort of stuff? Maybe not. But we do have another inside bar which you could take. So both of these are valid, you know, they're both perfectly valid, but if you're reading price action and you know anything about price action, we are approaching an area, we're rejecting this previous sort of like zone which we didn't break below. Tricky, like it's tricky. So there was a lot of this stuff, like maybe I read too much into price action when I'm live trading and sometimes it just throws me off, and if I'm being distracted off the charts, it can be just a little bit tricky, but you know, we got those two to take if they come in, which that one did, so I'll mark it up. Yeah, I feel more annoyed than when I was actually trading this week because of all of this opportunity. Wow. Okay, and now it's just left behind another one with that recent breaker structure. Get that inside bar, clear that off. We also have that. Oh, red news. What was it? I remember that. It was J-Powell, wasn't it? Or K-Powell, whatever his name is. Powell. Bellend. So yeah, you want to punch out before that happens, which is what I did. You know, I got out of that trade. Oh, breaking structure anyway. So why was I holding on? Oh, right, it was this. Okay, so there is a M15 all the way down here, and I always say to people, okay, oh, this was marked up a couple of weeks ago as well, and it still stood. All right, so I say to people, effectively, always take the extreme, okay? You've got a relatively low probability of it working out, but the extreme means that your target can be the breaker structure all the way up here on the daily, okay? So if you get involved in this trade, I'm just gonna briefly mark this up. I'm just gonna do it roughly. It's about there and there. That and that. You've got a relatively low chance of it working, but your risk reward ratio is always phenomenal. It's about that. It's about that. We'll do the exact. Why not? Sorry, you can hear in my voice that I'm feeling deflated looking at this. But yeah, just so many distractions off the charts can really screw up your trading week. And that's just literally what has happened to me. Right, so yeah, 16.5 hour. Oh, and also take profit on these. So that one entered, didn't it? Yeah, so TP there. TP there. Let's slide that onto it. And then we've got this to go long from, okay? So bit tricky, bit risky. Also with the speech coming up, I was mindful of it. So we got the speech coming up in half an hour effectively and tagged in. So I get 15 minutes in, I punch out for break even. So it's the wise thing to do. When it's a red news event, sometimes this guy can shift the market, you know, 70 pips. So I punch out at pretty much break even, a tiny bit of profit. And it's just, great. Even better. And then it leaves behind another order block, but going the opposite way. Because it's an inside bar, this is what I mean by I trade the inside bars. I treat the inside bar as a high and a low within itself. So when you're at a turning point, we're in a higher time frame POI, we're at the extreme. This is chalk for the H4. So effectively, if we got an H4 close below here, we would be turning in the market. Okay, so a confirmed turn in the market. But the inside bar within a higher time frame POI and bouncing from a 15-minute POI, which is 2 weeks old, this is a good order block to take if it comes back to it. So that's an internal chop, effectively. And we've also got these to get short from as well, just in case price does press down into the market, and our actual chop would have been here anyway on the 15, but the H4 is miles away. Okay, so I'd want to sort of look at the macro structure and say, okay, the market's flowing, we've got that as a very obvious order block, even though it has been rebalanced. And then the flow of the market is these. So these don't look particularly strong now. Okay, that's what I call curved liquidity. If that one goes, this one should go. And then we might see price pull back off of this, okay, and continue its way down. So let's keep going. And not quite tagged in. Okay, and that's the end of the week. So, you know, that one I closed out, but I always say to people, close out about 8 o'clock on a Friday. So we'll count the actual profit of what the strategy would have bought you, even though I punched out with, like, basically it covered the commissions for a few of the losses. But I'm going to go to wherever 8 is. So 3.77. So I'll just put that down as a little tick wherever it's gone. And it's time to get the calculator out and start crying while I do it. Yeah, I found it so hard to trade this week. Like, I really did. You know, I'm not afraid to admit it because, you know, I'm a good trader, but this week there's just been too much going on and I struggled to handle it. You know, a lot of things I'm balancing outside of trading, as well as pumping in just so much effort into the group and creating more YouTube videos and stuff like that. My time, my sleeping pattern, as you can tell, it's like 3:30 now. In the morning, Friday morning, or Saturday morning technically, there's a lot going on. So let's just get the calculator out. Let's count up the losses first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, well, I got less losses than that this week, so that's a bonus. So losses equals 6, wins equal 54.52%. I didn't realize it would be that high. You know, I haven't had the best week trading. And, you know, I'm tempted to do a video on psychology because I can at least tell you what has been affecting me and what I am currently doing to try to change it. At the end of the day, there's a lot of things which happen during the week where there's kind of like false pullbacks, false things which can look like order blocks, but if you go what looks screamingly obvious to you, you should be fine. Now, I had a lot of self-doubt this week, had a lot of distractions, a lot of things affected me off the charts, but I didn't expect to be affected as much as I was. And it's really frustrated me actually getting this result on the backtesting because this is what the strategy gives off. There's probably even a few that I've missed and, you know, could possibly add more. But at the end of the day, you know, this week was, you know, a total wins of 60%. Last week was 77%. Like, you could be wrong so many times, okay? You could basically take out almost every pullback and be profitable using this strategy, and you'd still, you know, you'd be absolutely fine. Yet I adjusted, like, I'll share my journal with you as well, but, you know, I adjusted my stop loss, which I say do not do. I entered late with a trade, with a FOMO trade. I did another FOMO trade. I did 3 errors this week, which were diabolical. They were stuff which I would have expected to have done if I was 3 months into trading, not 7 years. You know, and having built probably the most profitable strategy on the internet. Okay, so, you know, the fact that just those things outside of trading, outside of work, has really affected me. And it's, you know, hopefully next week will be better. I'm determined to do better. And I'm meticulously logging all of my trades, my feelings, stuff which has affected me during the day or during the evening. And hopefully we'll just get better. But, you know, this week was a write-off as far as I'm concerned. Last week, yeah, did fine, took out 9%. But this week, you know, I took nowhere near. Anyway, guys, hopefully you found value in this video. Sorry that I do sound a bit downbeat, but it's because I can see, you know, this is the week which has just finished, and I've had a diabolical week. But hopefully you'll see that the strategy, if you are watching along and you get to these endpoints, you'll see that you do gather a lot of really good information out of what I say. I do get emotional because, you know, I'm an emotional person, but at the same time, I hate losing. So my biggest thing that I need to fix is my ego. And that is ego in terms of, I don't like being a loser. I want to be a winner. So, you know, it's, yeah, one of those things. Lots of years of undoing, which I've got to do, unfortunately. But anyway, catch you in the next one.